Well, hello there and happy weekend. Nikki Veit here of NV Strong. Now, I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of film a recap of what I spent the last weekend doing at my coaching workshop in Indianapolis. To start off, as you've been following, I've wanted to set 2020 as a year where I attend more in-person, hands-on certifications, workshops, classes, etc. So this was one of the first workshops I signed up for. It was a coaching workshop, a 2-day coaching workshop under a major influence of mine, Mike Robertson, at his gym, iFast in Indianapolis. I've been following Mike Robertson's podcasts, videos, material, video lectures for about 2 years now. I really appreciate his mix of the hard skills, getting really meticulous about movement assessment and giving corrective exercises and which exercise to use for which client and program design. And then the soft skills. I find him to be very approachable and humble, and he knows how to interact with everyone from professional NBA athletes to Gen Pop, a 60-year-old woman who just wants to be able to move better. So I've always been influenced by him, and I finally had a chance to meet him in person. If you've ever been following someone's material and finally met them in person, you know what that feels like. You're like, I'm used to seeing you in a box like this, and now you're live in front of me. So that was really cool. The coaching workshop featured 4 other coaches, like me and 4 other coaches. Mike was leading. So I met folks from New York, Franklin, Tennessee, Chicago, DC, and we got really interested. I got really interested in everyone's different background, where they're coming from. One of the biggest takeaways for me from the weekend was talking about inhalation and exhalation and the positioning of your body and how everything from your sacrum changes position to your pelvis being under your ribs and your thorax. And we talked a lot about if someone comes in and they've got this kind of posture where they're a little bit sway back, we call this inhale. They're really holding air in them, and we need to even them out with some exhalation. Same thing, but flip it. Someone's coming to you with that kyphosis position. Their shoulders are rounded forward. They're typically seen as very exhale. So there's a lot of pressure and a lot of tightness going on, and we need to inhale them back up. This leads to another way of looking at exercises as loading or propulsion. So loading being like a squat, where I'm trying to stack my pelvis right under my ribs and keep my torso upright as I'm going down and coming up. Whereas a hinge, a deadlift, is more of that propulsion because I'm hinging, my hips are back, and my torso is coming forward, and so I'm propulsing forward. Like a runner. Think of runners, whether marathon runners or sprinting, they're constantly in this forward lean to propulse themselves forward. So someone who's running could benefit from doing more loading exercises, more squats, a front foot elevated split squat. Another example of a loading exercise would be doing push-ups with a big reach at the top, because this is still pushing your thorax back, and you're breathing air into your upper back. And so it was just fascinating being able to dissect movement and talk about it in a completely different and a unique way than I've been thinking about it. I really am proud of myself for attending a workshop like this, because I am on the path to becoming the best coach that I can be. I want to tap into my potential, and in order to tap into that, it's learning on a daily basis. I'm reading books, I'm reading articles, I'm connecting with local and international fitness professionals. I'm testing different program designs on myself and on my clients, and just trying to learn and get better. And so I found this coaching workshop one of those examples, like a huge leap forward, because not only did I get that hands-on experience, but it gave me a lot of food for thought to take into my next week with my clients. So if you are a young coach, or if you're interested in being a coach or a trainer, or look, maybe you just have lifting and exercising as a major hobby of yours, I would highly recommend checking out an in-person continuing education event. There's something that happens, even one of those conferences, like a Perform Better conference. Gosh, there's so many. Idea Fitness, that's another example. The Swiss conferences, there's so many around the world these days that you could just look up an interest and really learn some decent shit while you're there and connect with fellow like-minded people. You'll surprise yourself how many, as someone who used to isolate myself a lot in Chicago and just kind of stick my head in a book or just like not go out and think, I'm learning, right? I'm learning. I now see the tremendous benefit from getting out there and meeting, like shaking hands with fellow people in my industry and seeing like, wow, Ian's asking questions I wouldn't have even thought to ask. And just now getting to hear that answer because someone else asked that question. So that was a really, really cool aspect. I feel very grateful for the time that I spent with Mike Robertson last weekend, and I'll definitely be back there. So hope you enjoyed this recap. Feel free to ask me any further questions about this inhalation, exhalation, loading, propulsion stuff. I got a lot of new cues and different exercises to try with my clients. So it's gonna be a fun next month.